Crypto, it is getting significantly worse. We're not playing out any sort of the short-term bullishness that we have experienced. We're just going through with our intermediate analysis that everything is quite rather bearish and Bitcoin just doesn't want to stop. It wants to keep on dumping, dumping, dumping. And all of these things typically happen in bear markets. You can go to the weekly time frame and go back to post-halving year Q4 in last cycle and you just kept on dumping, 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 dumping. It wasn't a nice picture. It was really a horrible picture. And when you zoom into the daily time frame, I think it's going to be more illustrative on how it really looked like on the daily scale. If we zoom back to 2021 and it loads, you can see from the highs, you came down from the very highs, the 69K point, you came down about 52% until you actually experienced some sort of a bounce and a consolidation to that 200 daily moving average, which I still believe Bitcoin is going to hit at some point before the final collapse of the bear market. But you came down 52% before any sort of real bounce and consolidation. And you can see, you just kept on going lower, kept on going lower, kept on going lower until you got that bounce. And it was a 52% drop from the highest point in all-time high. When you look at Bitcoin now, you can see that we've currently dropped approximately 32-ish%. 32% we're down so far. And until we see that bounce, it could technically be towards the 74Ks. Although I doubt that will be the scenario this cycle because obviously we've pumped less than we have done in 2021. So to me, like we should be getting a rebound soon. The golden pocket would have been a phenomenal level to do that, but I think the 0.7, right, if we look at the exact number 0.786, that should also be a good place where Bitcoin can see hopefully some sort of rebound. Otherwise, it's just nasty and you come down straight to the 74Ks. I'm still reliant on the theory that we do get a bounce and then we do hit the 200 daily and then we see the capitulation towards the low 70s. But at the moment, it does make you feel like we're going to go a lot lower. From a term of positioning wise, I mean, I'm still bullish in my bullish derivatives holdings. I'm going to go short at the 200 daily moving average. That is the plan. I'm not changing course on the plan yet. Okay, we go to altcoins. Altcoins are doing relatively okay to Bitcoin, but remember, I said that the Bitcoin dominance is going to drop, but Bitcoin dominance dropping does not mean that altcoins are now going to go into their altcoin season. No, it's just that most altcoins are already at their bear market lows. So when you're at bear market lows, relative to Bitcoin, you can't really drop more. That's why the Bitcoin dominance is going to go down and altcoin dominance is going to increase. You look at Ethereum. Ethereum is plummeting its way. I think for Ethereum, we called the 2.8 to 2.7 range. We are currently in 2.8. I think all the way down to the low 2700s is possible before seeing a potential bounce. On Ethereum, obviously, we've been quite bearish on Ethereum. We've highlighted that Ethereum had a massive head and shoulders pattern on this YouTube channel. We've highlighted it over on crypto Twitter, and it's currently playing out exactly as predicted. There was a fractal on Ethereum from exactly a year ago, and the same thing just sort of played out once more, right? So for Ethereum, 2.7 is the level I'm looking for. XRP is coming down. XRP breaking below a very nasty rising wedge pattern alongside creating a double top and also having a bearish divergence. To any XRP holders, I would be careful with your XRP. There is always a chance that it comes down to the levels that it consolidated forever after seeing that dramatic pump to the upside. XRP has a tendency to do that. Solana approaching the levels where I want to buy a lot of Solana. That's between the 110 to about $125 marks. That's where I'm going to start accumulating more and more Solana. When we go to the breaking news, the fear and greed is showing that we're still at extreme fear. The fact that we're not bouncing at extreme fear is a sign that, yes, this is a transition from bull into bear market. The only times where you don't bounce in extreme fear is in that transitory period from bull into bear market. Today, the US Labor Department officially published the September jobs report, which it delayed due to the government shutdown 48 days late. The US added 119,000 jobs in September, above expectations of 53%. However, the unemployment data rose from 4.3% to 4.4%. Currently, there's now a 60% chance that they don't cut rates and a 39% chance they cut rates by 25 basis points. On the Moon Show, I read this incorrectly. It was just quite stressful. We went through a lot today. No need to get into the details, but it was quite a stressful day for myself and Carl. So I misread the data on the Moon Show while doing the live stream, but now there's a 60% chance they don't cut. And obviously, if they don't cut rates, then for liquidity, it's going to be horrible. So Bitcoin is seeing a dump to the downside alongside the rest of the risk on market. The S&P down 1% today. Really, 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 really annoying. At least, though, when you zoom into the jobs data, private sector added much more jobs than the government. That tends to be a good thing. And obviously, if you are from a country, the fact that native-born people from that country getting jobs it tends to be better than the foreigners taking the jobs. So that's also a good data. The thing is, we don't know how the government shutdown really affected employment because we don't have any data from October. Will we ever see any data from October? Nobody knows. But we just know that the Fed will be deciding their interest rates in 19 days time, and we know that the Fed chair said there's even a chance that they don't cut rates at all in December's meeting, and that would be terrible. So guys, it's really getting worse. It is what it is. What to do? We just gotta sort of live through it. With that said, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you all on the next video tomorrow. Bye bye, guys.